Hello again. It's been so long since we last spoke. Some of you older viewers might recognize these dulcet tones. This is the first punk rock record from the LA scene in 1977, and it was recorded by Darby Crash and his band The Germs, who, as you can hear, could barely play their instruments. And this was recorded in Pat Smear's garage. Pat Smear, who was the guitarist, and later went on to play with Nirvana and is still, I think, with the Foo Fighters, if they're still around. And I love the rawness of this. I mean, the fact that these people can barely play their instruments, but they believed in Darby Crash's poetic vision, his musical concepts, and they went from being a joke band, or considered a joke band, to being a really unique band in the brief history of the LA punk scene. And I bring all this up because I just saw a film I rented called What We Do Is Secret, which is the biopic of Darby Crash and the Germs, and it stars Shane West as Darby Crash. And Shane West is a bit too pretty to be Darby Crash, despite the prosthetic teeth they put in to give him that snarl look. But in the musical performances, Shane West does pretty well. In fact, he's been touring with the original Germs, doing these reunion shows and essentially playing Darby Crash live. So he really does have that aspect of it down. But what I like about this movie, and it is a flawed movie, it's a little too conventional actually. It should be an unconventional film. It should have taken more chances the way Darby Crash took chances with his music and his lifestyle. And but what I like about this, it really shows the beginnings of something. I love the beginnings of raw creative energy, and they have a scene in here from the Orpheum in spring of 1977, the first time the Germs ever played together, ever. And it was just very raw and rudimentary, and the fact that they were doing it in front of like 6 people in the audience and who were hooting at them, and they didn't care, they did it anyway. And it reminded me, not everything reminds me of Kamikaze Radio, but it did remind me of the first show that we did in Kamikaze Radio. It was just me, Mike Owens, and Jim Buck, where we performed after a long performance of Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot, and there was like this lunar, uneven landscape on the stage of the Broadway Playhouse, and we had to do sketch comedy on this set that looked like the Sea of Tranquility or something, with a lot of garbage strewn about. And we played to those people who stayed after watching Samuel Beckett for 3 hours, or however long they were there. So, and usually it was just like 5 people, 6 people, and that's how it began. So I tapped into that. I love that aspect of it. And it also, you know, it really shows how music was changing at that time, how it got back down to its roots, popular music. And I really enjoyed it. It spoke to me. It's my generation. It's where I really tapped into new music, as I've said ad nauseum, both in writing and on video. I recommend it if you're into that stuff. Like I said, it's uneven. And, you know, the sad thing about Darby Crash is that he committed suicide the day before, or just hours before, John Lennon was assassinated. So some papers didn't even report his death until a week afterwards. So he didn't go out the way I think he was trying to go out, with a massive heroin overdose, because he had pretty much done what he had set out to do, and he was only 22. Now, a lot of friends of mine who like a lot of my music never got into the Germs the way I did, because they see the clips on YouTube, and I think I'll put one up to go with this tape, so you'll see what I mean. Something from the Whiskey, and you can see Darby just, it's like he doesn't make any sense in the microphone. You can barely hear what he's saying, which is really too bad, because Darby Crash's songs are really well written. I mean, they really, truly are poetry, and great imagery, great use of language. He was a very talented writer. He was very insecure. He was in the closet, pretended to be straight, and was just a tormented guy. And when he would go on stage, he was usually fucked up, usually on booze, but later on heroin. And that also explained his onstage demeanor, when he would fall all over the place and could barely even talk. And so in a way, Darby Crash became a freak show, which they show as he later tries to reclaim his musical heritage, such as it was. people in the audience were yelling at him to cut himself with glass and roll around and jump off the stage and otherwise make a fool of himself. And I think he realized that he had painted himself into that sort of freakish corner, which I don't think he really wanted to be. What was a gimmick at the beginning to cover the fact that the band could not play their instruments became the calling card. It became what people wanted to come and see. So he got trapped by that. But anyway, so What We Do Is Secret. Definitely check it out if you're into that sort of thing. I am, and I'm going to go listen to The Germs some more.